Sarah Chan pressed her palm against the observation deck's cold metal surface, watching the alien transport ship drift toward the docking bay like a wounded bird seeking shelter. 3 months at Kepler Station had taught her to recognize distress signals, and this vessel screamed emergency from every flickering light panel. The communication came through garbled and desperate, static mixed with sounds no human throat could make, but the universal translator caught fragments. Help? Mother? Dying? Please! Sarah's supervisor, Commander Walsh, stood beside her with arms crossed. Absolutely not, Chen. Protocol 7 Alpha is crystal clear. No direct medical intervention with unknown species. We observe, we document, we report to Earth. That's it. But they're asking for help. They're asking for you specifically. Did you catch that part? Walsh's voice carried an edge that made Sarah's stomach tighten. How does an alien species we've never encountered before know about one particular xenobiologist on a research station? The docking clamps engaged with a metallic thud that vibrated through the deck plating. Sarah watched through the reinforced viewport as the airlock cycled. Her breath fogged the glass as her heart hammered against her ribs. The first figure to emerge was small, no taller than a human child, but Sarah knew better than to assume age based on size. Its skin shimmered like oil on water, shifting between deep purples and silver. 6 limbs moved with fluid grace, and large eyes, impossibly large, reflected the station's harsh lighting like black mirrors. Behind it came 2 larger figures carrying something between them. Sarah's trained eye immediately cataloged details. Bipedal but with elongated proportions, skin that pulsed with bioluminescent patterns, and movements that suggested they were struggling under their burden. The small figure looked directly at the observation deck, directly at Sarah, and she felt a chill that had nothing to do with the station's recycled air. Those black eyes found hers across impossible distance and different atmospheric barriers, and she knew, somehow knew, that it could see her. Dr. Chun. The voice came through the comm system, perfectly clear now, speaking English with an accent she couldn't place. Please, my mother won't stop shaking. They say you're the only one who can fix her. Walsh grabbed Sarah's arm. How do they know your name? How do they know any of our language? The small alien pressed what might have been hands against the airlock's inner window. She's been shaking for 7 cycles now. The healers on our world said the sickness came from the star-touched place. They said only a human healer could understand the poison in her mind. Sarah's scientific training warred with something deeper, more primal. The creature's voice carried harmonics that bypassed her rational mind and spoke directly to every maternal instinct she possessed. This wasn't just communication, it was a plea that transcended species. Star-touched place. Sarah whispered. What does that mean? The larger aliens had placed their burden on a makeshift stretcher. Through the airlock's small window, Sarah could see the patient, clearly the child's mother. Her body convulsed in rhythmic spasms, bioluminescent patches flickering erratically across her skin like a broken electrical system. Even from this distance, Sarah could see the fear in the child's posture, the way its limbs trembled as it stayed close to its mother. Commander, I need to examine them. Whatever's happening to her, it's neurological. Those aren't random seizures, there's a pattern. Absolutely not. We don't know what diseases they might carry, what toxins. Look at the bio readings. Sarah pulled up the preliminary scans on her tablet. Their cellular structure is carbon-based, oxygen-breathing, remarkably similar to Earth mammals. If they can survive in our atmospheric mix, the biological compatibility is higher than we've ever seen. The child's voice came through the comm again, smaller now, breaking. Please don't let her die. The journey here took everything we had. Our elders said humans were healers, that you could touch minds and fix what was broken inside. Was that not true? Sarah felt something crack inside her chest. The child's faith, so absolute and desperate, reminded her why she'd become a xenobiologist in the first place. Not to catalog alien species like specimens in a lab, but to build bridges between worlds, to find the common threads that connected all life. They're neural patterns, she said, studying the bioscanner readings. Commander, these aren't random seizures. This is systematic neural degradation, but it's following pathways I recognize. I've seen this before. Where? Sarah's blood went cold as the pieces clicked together. In human patients. Specifically, humans exposed to certain types of quantum radiation. This isn't an alien disease, Commander. This is something we might have caused. The child pressed harder against the window, its large eyes now streaming with something that looked remarkably like tears. Please, Dr. Chun. She's all I have left. Sarah's hands shook as she suited up in the isolation chamber, ignoring Commander Walsh's angry protests echoing through the comm system. The biosuit felt heavier than usual, every seal and filter a reminder of the protocols she was about to violate. But the child's tears, so heartbreakingly human despite their alien origin, had shattered her professional detachment. Chun, if you enter that airlock, your career is over. Do you understand me? Walsh's voice crackled with static and fury. I'll have no choice but to report this as insubordination. Then report it. Sarah checked her medical kit one final time. Some things matter more than careers. The airlock cycled with mechanical precision, but Sarah felt like she was stepping across the threshold of two worlds. The alien family waited in the sterile white chamber, and up close, their desperation was even more overwhelming. The mother's convulsions had worsened, her bioluminescent patches now strobing in chaotic patterns that hurt to look at directly. The child rushed to Sarah the moment she entered, its 6 limbs moving in what she somehow recognized as gratitude despite never having seen the gesture before. Thank you. I knew you would come. I told Mother you would come. Sarah knelt beside the stretcher, her scanner already working. The readings confirmed her worst fears. What's your name? She asked the child, trying to keep her voice steady. I am. The closest translation would be Harmony, and my mother is Deep Song. We are of the Resonance people. Harmony, I need you to tell me exactly what happened to your mother. When did the shaking start? Harmony's skin shifted to darker purples, what Sarah was beginning to recognize as emotional distress. 7 cycles ago, she went to the weeping place. It's where the sky burned and the ground still cries tears of light. Our people avoid it, but Mother is a healer. She heard that others were getting sick from the sky poison, and she wanted to help them. Sarah's blood chilled. Sky poison? Can you describe it? The light that shouldn't be. It makes the air taste wrong and causes the shaking sickness. But Mother thought she could absorb it, filter it through her song like she does with other illnesses. That's what healers do. We take the hurt into ourselves so others don't have to carry it. The scanner beeped with new data, and Sarah's worst suspicions crystallized into horrible certainty. The quantum radiation signature was unmistakable. More than that, it matched exactly the residue from Earth's first experimental warp drive test, conducted 18 months ago in what they thought was empty space. Harmony, this weeping place, is it near a large crater? Maybe with strange metal fragments scattered around. The child's eyes widened. You know of it? Yes, exactly. The elders say it appeared like lightning from the void, a star metal storm that left poison in its wake. Many of my people have the shaking sickness now, but Mother got it worst because she tried to heal the others. Sarah closed her eyes, feeling the weight of unintended consequences crushing down on her. Earth's warp test had been conducted in what they believed was uninhabited space, but they'd never checked for worlds like this one. Planets whose inhabitants lived in harmony with quantum fields in ways humans barely understood. Deep Song's convulsions suddenly intensified, and alarms began shrieking from Sarah's medical equipment. The alien mother's bioluminescence flared so brightly that Sarah had to shield her eyes, and Harmony let out a sound that needed no translation. Pure terror. She's going into cascade failure, Sarah muttered, her training kicking in. Her neural pathways are burning out. Can you save her? Harmony gripped Sarah's arm with surprising strength. Please, I know you can. The dreams told me so. Dreams? Ever since the sky burned, I've had dreams of a human woman with kind eyes who could sing the poison away. You look exactly like her. It has to be you. Sarah's mind raced. The quantum radiation hadn't just poisoned the resonance people. It had created some kind of psychic link. Harmony had been dreaming of her across impossible distances, guided by desperation and hope to find the one person who might understand the connection between human technology and alien physiology. Harmony, I need you to listen very carefully. Your mother's condition. I think I can help her, but it's going to be dangerous. For both of us. I don't care about danger. Please. Sarah pulled up the quantum resonance patterns on her scanner. The radiation had fundamentally altered Deep Song's neural chemistry, but there was a pattern to the damage. If Sarah could introduce a counterharmonic frequency, she might be able to stabilize the cascade failure. The problem was that human technology wasn't designed for the subtle quantum manipulations the resonance people naturally performed. Your people, you mentioned song. Is that how you heal? Through sound vibrations. Harmony nodded eagerly. We sing to the quantum threads that connect all life. Mother could touch the harmony between mind and body and make sick things well again. But the sky poison is too strong, too chaotic. It's drowning out her song. An impossible idea began forming in Sarah's mind. What if we sang together? Human and resonance, your people's natural quantum sensitivity combined with our medical technology. You can sing the healing songs? Not the way you do, but I might be able to create a harmonic bridge. My scanner can generate precise frequency patterns. If you can guide those patterns with your natural abilities. Deep Song's convulsions reached a crescendo, her body arching off the stretcher as chaotic light poured from her skin. The medical alarms screamed warnings about cardiac arrest, neural overload, systemic failure. We have to try now, Sarah said, before we lose her completely. Harmony moved to its mother's side, placing what Sarah now recognized as hands on Deep Song's forehead. Tell me what to do. Sarah activated her scanner's experimental quantum field generator, a prototype she'd been testing for non-invasive neural mapping. I'm going to create a base frequency pattern to counteract the radiation. You need to amplify it, shape it, make it sing the way your mother's body will understand. The scanner hummed to life, projecting invisible waves of precisely calibrated energy. Harmony began to emit sounds unlike anything Sarah had ever heard. Not quite music, not quite language, but something that bypassed her ears and resonated directly in her bones. The moment their frequencies aligned, Sarah felt the universe shift around them. The sensation hit Sarah like a physical blow. Suddenly she wasn't just observing Harmony's healing song. She was part of it. The quantum field generated by her scanner had somehow synchronized with the alien child's natural abilities, creating a bridge between human technology and resonance biology that shouldn't have been possible. Through this impossible connection, Sarah could feel Deep Song's pain as if it were her own. The quantum radiation had carved chaotic pathways through the alien mother's neural network, each damaged synapse screaming in frequencies that made Sarah's teeth ache. But worse than the physical damage was the emotional resonance. Deep Song's desperate love for her child, her guilt over failing to heal her people, her terror of leaving Harmony alone in a universe that had suddenly become hostile. I can feel her, Sarah whispered, tears streaming down her face inside the biosuit. She's fighting so hard to stay alive for you. Harmony's song shifted, becoming more complex, and Sarah found her scanner automatically adjusting to match the new harmonics. The child wasn't just healing its mother. It was communicating with Sarah through pure emotion, sharing memories and sensations that painted a picture of the resonance civilization. She saw their world. Vast crystal cities that sang in the wind, gardens where plants grew in mathematical spirals guided by quantum harmonics, and people who could touch each other's minds as easily as humans shook hands. It was a society built on empathy and connection, where healers like Deep Song could literally absorb the suffering of others and transform it into something beautiful. But the images were tainted now by the spreading poison of human-made radiation. Sarah saw other resonance people in various stages of the shaking sickness, their natural harmony disrupted by chaotic quantum interference. Entire communities were failing as their healers, trying desperately to help, absorbed too much of the alien toxin and succumbed to cascade failures like Deep Song's. This is what we did, Sarah breathed, understanding flooding through her. Our warp test didn't just leave radiation, it left chaos. Your people live in quantum harmony, and we introduced discord into the fundamental frequencies of your world. Harmony's song faltered for a moment, grief and accusation bleeding through their connection. The child had known. Despite its desperate plea for help, it had understood that humans were responsible for its mother's condition. Yet it had still sought Sarah out, still believed she could fix what her own species had broken. Deep Song's convulsions began to slow as their combined efforts took effect. The chaotic bioluminescence patterns on her skin started synchronizing, finding rhythm in the harmonic bridge Sarah and Harmony had created. But Sarah could feel the enormous strain the process was putting on both of them. Her scanner was overheating, pushing beyond safe parameters, and Harmony's small body was trembling with exhaustion. "It's working," Sarah gasped, watching the neural activity readings stabilize. "But I don't know how long we can maintain this connection." Through their quantum link, Harmony shared something that made Sarah's blood freeze, visions of Earth. The child had been dreaming not just of Sarah, but of her home world. Images flashed through their connection. Major cities, landmarks Sarah recognized, millions of humans going about their daily lives completely unaware of the catastrophe they had accidentally unleashed. But these weren't just random dreams. Harmony was showing her what would happen if the quantum discord continued to spread. The resonance people weren't the only ones affected. The radiation was cascading through quantum dimensions, and eventually it would reach Earth itself. The same neural degradation now ravaging Harmony's people would begin affecting humans, but without the resonance's natural quantum sensitivity, humans would have no way to fight it. "The dreams showed me the future." Harmony's voice echoed directly in Sarah's mind now. "If Mother dies, if our healers can't learn to sing harmony with your chaos, both our worlds will fall to the shaking sickness. That's why I had to find you. You're not just saving her. You're saving everyone." The weight of cosmic responsibility crashed down on Sarah's shoulders. This wasn't just about one alien family anymore. The connection she and Harmony had forged was proof that human technology could work in harmony with resonance abilities. Together, they might be able to develop a cure not just for Deep Song, but for all the victims of humanity's accidental quantum poisoning. But first, they had to survive the next few minutes. Sarah's scanner finally began showing critical overheating warnings, sparks flying from its quantum field generator. At the same time, she could feel Harmony's strength failing through their connection. The child was pouring everything it had into healing its mother, burning out its own neural pathways in the process. "Harmony, you have to pull back. You're going to hurt yourself. I don't care. I won't let her die. If you die too, then no one can teach my people how to fix this. No one can prevent the future you showed me." Deep Song's eyes suddenly snapped open, brilliant and aware. Her convulsions had stopped, and the chaotic patterns on her skin had resolved into steady, beautiful waves of bioluminescence. She looked directly at Sarah with an expression of infinite gratitude and understanding. Then she began to sing. The sound was unlike anything Sarah had ever experienced. Not heard, but felt in every cell of her body. Deep Song's healing song wove through the quantum connection, amplifying and stabilizing the harmonic bridge Sarah and Harmony had created. The alien mother was using her restored strength to support them both, creating a three-way resonance that was somehow greater than the sum of its parts. Through this expanded connection, Sarah suddenly understood exactly how resonance healing worked. It wasn't magic, it was applied quantum mechanics at a level humans had never achieved. The resonance people could perceive and manipulate the fundamental frequencies that connected all living matter, essentially rewriting reality at the subatomic level to promote health and harmony. And now, through this impossible bridge between species, Sarah could do it too. She felt the quantum radiation signatures in Deep Song's system not as chaotic interference, but as discordant notes in a vast symphony. With careful frequency adjustments guided by resonance intuition, she began rewriting those notes, transforming chaos back into harmony. The process was exhausting and dangerous, but for the first time since the crisis began, Sarah felt hope. They were going to save Deep Song, and maybe, just maybe, they were going to save both their worlds. But as their three-way resonance reached its peak, Sarah's biosuit alarms began screaming warnings about quantum field exposure. The bridge they had created was affecting her too, rewriting her neural chemistry in ways that human biology was never meant to handle. She was running out of time to complete the healing before the process killed her. Pain exploded through Sarah's nervous system as the quantum bridge destabilized. Her biosuit's alarms shrieked warnings about dangerous radiation exposure, but she couldn't break the connection now, not when they were so close to saving Deep Song. Through their shared consciousness, she felt Harmony's panic as the child realized what was happening to her. "Stop!" Harmony's mental voice was desperate. "You're hurting yourself." "I can handle it," Sarah lied, feeling her own neural pathways beginning to burn under the strain. The quantum harmonics that came naturally to the resonance people were rewriting her human brain chemistry in real time, and her body was fighting the changes. Just a little longer. Deep Song's healing song shifted, becoming more complex and urgent. Through their connection, Sarah felt the alien mother's horror as she recognized the damage being done to her savior. Deep Song was trying to absorb Sarah's pain the same way she had absorbed the quantum radiation, taking the hurt into herself so others wouldn't have to suffer. "No," Sarah gasped aloud. "That's how you got sick in the first place. Don't sacrifice yourself for me." But Deep Song's nature as a healer ran deeper than conscious choice. Sarah felt waves of maternal protectiveness flowing through their quantum link, not just for Harmony, but for Sarah herself. In saving Deep Song, Sarah had somehow become part of their family bond, and the alien mother would die before letting harm come to either of her children. The three-way resonance suddenly intensified beyond anything they had achieved before. Deep Song was pouring her restored life force into stabilizing the bridge, using her natural healing abilities to protect both Sarah and Harmony from the quantum backlash. It was working. Sarah's pain lessened, and the chaotic radiation signatures in all three of their systems began resolving into stable patterns. But it was costing Deep Song everything she had. "Mother, no." Harmony's anguish tore through their shared consciousness. "I won't trade your life for hers." Through the quantum connection, Sarah experienced what it felt like to love someone more than your own existence. Deep Song's emotional resonance was pure and absolute. She would gladly burn herself out if it meant her child and the human who had risked everything to help them could survive. It was the same fierce protectiveness Sarah had seen in human mothers, but amplified through quantum dimensions until it became a force of nature. "There has to be another way," Sarah said, desperately adjusting her scanner's frequency patterns. "Harmony, your people's healing techniques. Is there a way to share the burden? To distribute the quantum load between all three of us instead of letting your mother absorb it all?" I don't know. I'm not trained as a healer yet. Mother was teaching me, but then we learned together. Right now." Sarah accessed her medical database, calling up everything humanity knew about quantum field theory and neural network optimization. At the same time, she opened her mind completely to the resonance consciousness flowing through their connection, letting Harmony and Deep Song share human scientific knowledge the same way they had shared their healing songs. The result was unprecedented. A fusion of human analytical thinking with resonance intuitive understanding that created entirely new possibilities. Sarah saw the quantum bridge not as a simple two-way connection, but as a complex multidimensional matrix that could be restructured and optimized. "It's like a song with three voices," she breathed, understanding flooding through her. "We don't have to carry the load individually. We can harmonize it, distribute the quantum resonance between all our neural networks simultaneously." Working together with inhuman speed, they began rebuilding the bridge. Sarah provided the mathematical framework and technological precision. Harmony contributed raw quantum sensitivity and adaptive harmonics. Deep Song offered the wisdom of experience and the stabilizing force of absolute love. The new configuration was more stable, more elegant, and infinitely more powerful than anything they had achieved before. The chaotic quantum radiation that had been poisoning Deep Song's system didn't just neutralize. It transformed, becoming part of a greater harmonic pattern that enhanced rather than destroyed. But as the healing reached completion, Sarah began to understand the true scope of what they had accomplished. The quantum bridge wasn't just connecting the three of them anymore. It was expanding, reaching out through dimensional space to touch other resonance people across their world. The healing pattern they had created was propagating like a wave, carrying the cure to every victim of the quantum poisoning. "It's spreading," Harmony whispered in wonder. The song is reaching everyone. All the sick ones, all the healers who tried to help and got poisoned. They're all getting better. Through the expanding network, Sarah felt the gratitude of an entire civilization. Thousands of resonance people were experiencing the relief of healing, the joy of harmony restored. But more than that, they were all learning from the human resonance bridge, gaining new understanding about the quantum forces that shaped their existence. This is how we prevent the future you showed me, Sarah realized. Not just by healing your people, but by teaching both our species how to work together. Humans with our technology, resonance with your natural quantum abilities. Together, we can prevent accidental catastrophes like this from ever happening again. Deep Song's eyes blazed with renewed health and purpose. Her song shifted to a new frequency, not healing now but communication. Through the quantum network, she was reaching across space toward Earth itself, sending a message that bypassed normal physics to arrive instantaneously at human monitoring stations. Sarah felt the transmission as it launched, a packet of pure information containing the complete quantum resonance patterns needed to detect and neutralize the spreading radiation before it reached Earth. But more than technical data, the message carried emotional context. Deep Song's forgiveness, Harmony's friendship, and an invitation for cooperation between species. My people will want to study this, Sarah said, tears streaming down her face as she felt the magnitude of what they had accomplished. The quantum bridge we've created, the healing techniques, the interspecies communication protocols, this could change everything for both our civilizations. And my people will want to learn from yours, Harmony replied. The dreams showed me human cities, human knowledge, human compassion. We could teach each other so much. But even as hope filled their shared consciousness, Sarah felt a darker undercurrent through the quantum network. The healing wave spreading across the resonance world was encountering resistance in some areas. Not everyone was grateful for the human-influenced cure. Some of the older, more traditional resonance people saw the quantum bridge as contamination rather than cooperation. And on Earth, Sarah knew that many humans would react with fear rather than wonder when they learned about the accidental poisoning and the alien solution. There would be those who viewed the resonance people as a threat to be contained rather than allies to be cherished. The bridge they had built could save both worlds, but first, it would have to survive the prejudices and fears that divided them. The quantum network carried more than healing, it carried discord. As the wave of restoration spread across the resonance world, Sarah felt pockets of resistance forming like immune responses rejecting foreign tissue. Through the connection, she experienced the confusion and anger of traditional resonance healers who saw the human-influenced cure as corruption of their sacred arts. They're calling it the tainted song, Harmony whispered, its mental voice heavy with grief. Some of the elder healers think we've poisoned our people's natural harmony with human chaos. They want to sever the connection and exile us. Deep Song's response rippled through the network with the force of absolute conviction. Her song carried layers of meaning that human language couldn't capture, but Sarah felt the essence. That love transcended species, that healing required courage to embrace the unknown, and that fear of change was the greatest poison of all. But Deep Song's arguments weren't reaching everyone. Through the quantum bridge, Sarah sensed a growing schism in resonance society. Those who had been healed by the human influence technique were grateful and curious about further cooperation. Those who had escaped the radiation poisoning were terrified that association with humans would bring more catastrophes. It's the same on Earth, Sarah admitted, monitoring the response to Deep Song's transmitted message. I can see the reports coming in through the network. Half the scientific community is fascinated by the quantum healing data. The other half wants to classify the entire incident and pretend it never happened. Commander Walsh's voice crackled through Sarah's comm system, more tense than she had ever heard him. Chun, get back to isolation immediately. Sarah's heart sank. The beautiful bridge they had built between species was already being viewed as a weapon by paranoid minds on both sides. Commander, you have to make them understand. The resonance people aren't invading our neural networks. They're healing them. The quantum radiation we accidentally released is spreading toward Earth. Without their help, we'll face the same cascade failures that nearly killed Deep Song. That's not how Earth Command sees it. They want the aliens quarantined and their quantum technology contained until we can develop countermeasures. Through the network, Sarah felt Harmony's terror as similar conversations took place among the Resonance Elders. Both species were responding to transcendent possibility with the same primitive fear. Stranger equals threat, different equals dangerous. We have to show them, Sarah said, looking into Harmony's large, trusting eyes. Both are peoples. They need to see that cooperation isn't contamination. Deep Song began singing again, but this time her song carried a new quality. Not healing, but revelation. Through the quantum bridge, she was sharing her memories with unprecedented clarity, letting Sarah and Harmony experience her entire perspective of recent events. Sarah saw the resonance world as Deep Song had first encountered the quantum poisoning, a paradise of crystalline cities where every structure sang in harmony with natural forces. The arrival of chaotic radiation from the human warp test had been like introducing random noise into a perfect symphony, causing fundamental frequencies to clash and spiral into discord. But more than the physical damage, Sarah felt Deep Song's emotional journey. The alien mother's initial confusion and fear as her people began falling ill. Her desperate determination to heal them despite not understanding the source of the poison. Her willingness to sacrifice herself by absorbing ever more radiation in futile attempts to cure what she couldn't comprehend. And then, through Harmony's dreams, the revelation that humans existed, the very beings whose technology had caused the crisis, but who also possessed the analytical knowledge needed to transform chaos back into harmony. She never blamed us, Sarah realized with wonder. Even knowing that humans caused the poisoning, she saw us as partners in the solution rather than enemies to be fought. Harmony's response carried complex harmonics of pride and sorrow. Mother always taught me that healing requires understanding, not judgment. The poison was accidental. Your people didn't know we existed any more than we knew about you. But once we found each other, the only important question was how to fix what was broken. Through the quantum network, Sarah felt this perspective spreading to some of the more open-minded individuals on both worlds. Scientists and healers who could see past fear to the incredible possibilities the bridge represented. But they were outnumbered by those who saw only threat and contamination. The crisis came to a head when Earth Command's response fleet began powering up their quantum disruptor arrays, preparing to sever the bridge by force. At the same time, Resonance military commanders started charging their harmonic weapons, ready to defend their world against what they perceived as human invasion through quantum channels. They're going to destroy everything we've built, Sarah said, feeling the fragile connection beginning to destabilize under the assault from both sides. All this beauty, all this potential for cooperation. They'll tear it apart out of fear. But Deep Song's song shifted once more, carrying a new note that Sarah had never heard before. Through the quantum bridge, the alien mother was broadcasting her memories not just to her own people and the humans, but to something else entirely, the quantum field itself, the fundamental fabric of spacetime that connected all things. What is she doing? Sarah asked. Something that's never been done before, Harmony replied, awed. She's asking the universe itself to remember this moment, to preserve what we've created even if our peoples destroy it. The quantum field responded to Deep Song's plea with something that transcended physics as humans understood it. The bridge between species didn't just stabilize, it evolved, becoming self-sustaining and autonomous. Even if every quantum disruptor and harmonic weapon fired simultaneously, the connection would endure, waiting for future generations wise enough to embrace what their ancestors had feared. But the immediate crisis remained. Military forces on both worlds were preparing to attack, and the fragile peace Sarah, Harmony, and Deep Song had built was about to shatter under the weight of species-wide paranoia. There's only one way to stop this, Sarah realized, her heart breaking even as her resolve hardened. We have to make a choice that neither of our peoples will understand, but that might save both of them in the long run. Through their connection, she shared her desperate plan with Harmony and Deep Song. It would require sacrificing everything they had built together, but it might preserve the possibility of rebuilding it in a future when fear had given way to wisdom. The alien mother and child considered the proposal with the same devastating clarity that had guided all their decisions. And then, with infinite sadness and absolute love, they agreed. Sarah's hands trembled as she prepared to sever the quantum bridge that had become more precious to her than her own life. Through the connection, she felt Harmony's heartbreak and Deep Song's resigned wisdom, but their shared resolve never wavered. Sometimes love meant letting go, even when holding on felt like the only thing keeping the universe from collapsing into darkness. "Are you certain this is the only way?" Commander Walsh asked through the comm, his voice softer now that he understood the magnitude of what was about to be lost. The preliminary data from the bridge had already revolutionized human understanding of quantum mechanics, and he knew they were about to sacrifice discoveries that could advance both civilizations by centuries. "The military commanders on both sides see the bridge as a weapon," Sarah replied, making final adjustments to her scanner's quantum field generator. "As long as it exists, they'll keep trying to control or destroy it. But if we voluntarily collapse the connection now, we can encode its essential patterns into the quantum field itself. Future generations can rediscover it when they're ready." Through the bridge, Deep Song shared one final flood of memories, not of the recent crisis, but of her hopes for what the connection between species could become. Sarah saw visions of human and resonance children learning together, of technologies that combined analytical precision with harmonic intuition, of two civilizations growing stronger through cooperation rather than competition. "These dreams will wait in the quantum foam," Deep Song's song promised. "When both our peoples are wise enough to choose unity over fear, the path will reveal itself again." Harmony's mental voice was thick with tears that transcended species barriers. "Will we ever see each other again?" Sarah felt her own tears falling as she prepared to activate the severance protocol. "I don't know, little one, but I believe that connections this deep don't truly end. They just wait for the right moment to bloom again." The quantum field began to collapse in carefully controlled stages, each phase encoding different aspects of their shared experience into the fundamental structure of spacetime. The healing frequencies that had cured the radiation poisoning, the communication protocols that had enabled true understanding between species, the resonance patterns that had allowed human technology and resonance intuition to work in perfect harmony. All of it was being preserved in a form that no weapon could destroy and no government could suppress, written into the quantum vacuum itself, waiting for rediscovery by minds open enough to perceive it. As the bridge weakened, Sarah felt their three-way consciousness beginning to separate. The magnificent symphony of shared thought and emotion that had defined their partnership was fading back into individual minds trapped within the boundaries of flesh and species. It was like going blind after seeing in colors that had no names. "Remember us," Harmony whispered as the connection dimmed. "Remember that love is stronger than fear, and that healing is always possible if you're willing to sacrifice everything for it." "Always," Sarah promised, though she could barely speak past the grief crushing her chest. "Always." The final phase of severance completed with a sensation like the universe exhaling. The quantum bridge collapsed completely, leaving Sarah alone in her biosuit with nothing but memories and the gentle hum of normal spacetime. Through the observation window, she could see the resonance transport ship preparing for departure, its earlier distress signals replaced by the steady harmonics of peaceful travel. Commander Walsh entered the isolation chamber, his expression unreadable. "The military response fleets on both sides are standing down. Earth Command is satisfied that the alien quantum infiltration has been contained, and apparently the resonance leadership believes the human threat has been neutralized." "Good," Sarah said hollowly. "Mission accomplished." "Chan." Walsh paused, clearly struggling with words. "The preliminary analysis of your medical data is extraordinary. The quantum exposure you experienced shouldn't have been survivable, but somehow you integrated it into your neural structure without permanent damage. The implications for human evolution, for our understanding of consciousness itself." "File it under classified and forget about it," Sarah interrupted. "That's what Earth Command will do anyway." But even as she spoke, Sarah could feel something different in her neural patterns. Not the overwhelming connection she had shared with Harmony and Deep Song, but a subtle sensitivity to quantum fields that hadn't existed before. The bridge had changed her at a fundamental level, leaving her partially attuned to the frequencies that connected all life. Over the following weeks, as Kepler Station returned to normal operations and the incident was buried under layers of classification, Sarah discovered that her quantum sensitivity was growing stronger. She could perceive the harmonic patterns underlying biological processes, sense the emotional resonances between people, and occasionally catch whispers of something vast and patient waiting in the quantum foam. The preserved bridge was calling to her, not with the urgent desperation of crisis, but with the quiet persistence of inevitable reunion. Other humans with the right sensitivity were beginning to hear it too, scientists and healers whose minds were open enough to perceive new possibilities. And according to intercepted communications from resonance space, similar awakenings were occurring among Harmony's people. The connection hadn't truly been severed, it had been transformed into something that could grow organically, spreading from individual to individual rather than being imposed by governments or military forces. What Sarah, Harmony, and Deep Song had sacrificed in the present, they had preserved for a future when both species would be ready to embrace it willingly. 6 months later, Sarah received an encrypted message through channels that officially didn't exist. The quantum patterns were unmistakable. Harmony had found a way to touch the preserved bridge and send communication across interstellar space. Deep Song as well. The message whispered directly into Sarah's consciousness. She teaches healing to anyone willing to learn, and she always begins her lessons with the story of a human who risked everything to save a stranger's mother. I am learning too, preparing for the day when the bridge blooms again. We hope you are preparing as well. Sarah smiled as she felt the message fade, leaving behind only warmth and the promise of reunion. Around her, the universe hummed with patient harmonics, carrying the dreams of two civilizations toward an inevitable future where love would prove stronger than fear. The bridge was waiting, and when both species were ready, it would carry them home to each other once again. In the quantum foam between dimensions, Deep Song's final gift continued its slow work of transformation, weaving human and resonance destinies together with threads too subtle for governments to detect and too strong for fear to break. The child's desperate plea, "Please fix my mom," had evolved into something infinitely larger. A prayer for healing that would echo across space and time until both worlds learned to answer it together. And in her dreams, Sarah could still hear Harmony singing. Dr. Sarah Chun stood before the assembled delegates of the United Earth Council, her hands steady despite the magnitude of what she was about to reveal. 5 years had passed since the official Kepler Station incident had been classified and buried, but the quantum seeds planted during those desperate hours had grown in ways no government could contain. "Distinguished members," Sarah began, her voice carrying new harmonics that only the most sensitive listeners could detect. "I stand before you today not just as a xenobiologist, but as living proof that the future of humanity lies not in isolation, but in connection." Behind her, holographic displays showed data that would have been impossible to gather through conventional means. Detailed analyses of quantum field fluctuations, biological adaptation patterns, and most remarkably, documented cases of spontaneous interspecies communication occurring across dozens of human colonies. "The phenomenon you've classified as quantum sensitivity syndrome isn't a disease or mutation," Sarah continued. "It's evolution. Humans are naturally developing the ability to perceive and interact with the quantum harmonies that connect all life in the universe. And we're not alone in this development." Commander Walsh, now promoted to Admiral and serving as Earth's liaison for xenobiological affairs, activated a new series of displays. 3 months ago, our deep space monitoring stations detected organized quantum transmissions from the resonance homeworld. The patterns matched the harmonic frequencies Dr. Chun recorded during the Kepler incident. A murmur ran through the assembled delegates. The existence of the resonance people had been one of Earth's most closely guarded secrets, known only to the highest levels of government and military command. "They're reaching out," Sarah said, feeling the familiar tingle of quantum sensitivity as she spoke. Even now, across impossible distances, she could sense echoes of Harmony's consciousness touching the edges of human space. "The bridge we thought we had destroyed has been growing, spreading through individuals on both sides who are naturally developing the sensitivity to perceive it." Dr. Elena Vasquez, Sarah's former colleague who had become Earth's leading expert on quantum consciousness, stepped forward with a data tablet. We've identified over 12,000 humans across 47 colonies who show signs of quantum sensitivity. They report shared dreams, intuitive understanding of alien thought patterns, and in 17 documented cases, direct mental contact with resonance individuals. This is unprecedented, declared Secretary General Morrison, his face pale with the implications. You're talking about fundamental changes to human neurology, unsanctioned contact with alien minds, potential security breaches on a species-wide scale. Sarah felt a familiar presence touch her consciousness. Not harmony this time, but deep song, her mental voice carrying across light years as if they were standing in the same room. The alien mother's song brought images of the resonance homeworld, where similar developments were occurring among her people. Secretary General, Sarah said, allowing some of Deep Song's harmonic wisdom to color her words. What we're experiencing isn't a security breach. It's a reunion. The connection between our species was never truly severed. It was encoded into the quantum field itself, waiting for both civilizations to evolve enough to embrace it willingly. Through her enhanced sensitivity, Sarah could feel the emotional currents running through the assembled delegates. Fear and wonder warred in their minds, the same fundamental conflict that had nearly destroyed the bridge 5 years ago. But there were differences now, hope where there had been only suspicion, curiosity where there had been paranoia. Show them, Deep Song's voice whispered in Sarah's mind. Show them what we've built together. Sarah closed her eyes and opened her consciousness fully to the quantum field. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Suddenly, every quantum-sensitive human within 100 light-years was connected in a vast network of shared awareness. The delegates gasped as holographic displays around the chamber began showing real-time data from across human space, all of it flowing through the minds of volunteers who had learned to perceive reality as the resonance people did. But more than data, the network carried emotion. The assembled leaders felt, for just a moment, what it was like to touch the consciousness of an alien child who had risked everything to save its mother. They experienced Deep Song's boundless compassion for creatures she had never met but recognized as kindred spirits. They sensed the patient hope of an entire civilization waiting for the day when fear would give way to friendship. This is what harmony showed me in those first desperate moments, Sarah said as the demonstration faded. Both our species standing at the threshold of something unprecedented. Not conquest or assimilation, but genuine partnership between different forms of consciousness. Admiral Walsh activated a final display showing long-range sensor data from the edge of human space. The resonance transport vessels have been gathering at the border of our territory for 3 months. Not an invasion fleet, diplomatic ships, carrying healers and what our xenolinguistics teams believe are cultural ambassadors. They're waiting for permission to approach, Dr. Vasquez added. Every quantum-sensitive human in the outer colonies reports the same message. When you are ready to heal old wounds and build new dreams, we will come. Sarah felt tears on her cheeks as Harmony's voice joined Deep Song's across the quantum bridge. The child had grown in the 5 years since their connection, becoming a skilled healer in its own right and serving as a bridge between traditional resonance society and those who advocated for renewed contact with humanity. The question before us, Sarah addressed the delegates, isn't whether this contact will happen. The quantum bridge is already rebuilding itself through individuals on both sides who are ready for it. The question is whether our governments will guide this process or be left behind by it. Secretary General Morrison stood slowly, his expression showing the weight of a decision that would reshape the future of human civilization. Dr. Chun, if we agree to formal contact with the resonance people, what guarantees do we have that this bridge won't be used to influence or control human minds? Sarah smiled, feeling the warm presence of her alien friends supporting her across impossible distance. The same guarantee we've always had with any relationship, Secretary General. Trust, communication, and the choice to remain connected only as long as it serves the growth and happiness of everyone involved. Through the quantum field, she felt a wave of approval from thousands of sensitive humans and resonance people alike. The bridge that had begun with a child's desperate plea to save its mother had evolved into something neither species had imagined. A voluntary network of consciousness that enhanced rather than diminished individual identity. I recommend, Admiral Walsh said formally, that we extend an invitation for formal diplomatic contact, under controlled conditions, with full monitoring and the option to withdraw if necessary. The vote, when it came, was closer than Sarah had hoped but decisive enough to matter. 47 in favor, 31 opposed, with 12 abstentions. Humanity would officially open its arms to its first alien allies. As the session concluded and delegates filed out in animated discussion, Sarah remained behind, her consciousness still touching the quantum field that connected her to harmony and deep song. Across the vast emptiness of space, she felt their joy and relief, along with something else. Anticipation for a future where the desperate crisis that had brought them together would become the foundation for something beautiful and lasting. "Thank you," Harmony's voice whispered in her mind, carrying harmonics of adult wisdom now but still touched with the innocent hope that had first called Sarah to risk everything. "For believing that love could build bridges where fear saw only walls." Sarah smiled, looking out at the stars that no longer seemed cold and distant, but warm with the promise of friendship waiting among them. "Thank you for teaching me that the most important healing happens not in bodies, but in the spaces between hearts." The quantum field hummed with patient music, carrying the dreams of two civilizations toward a future bright with possibility.